Taking a look at number 14, we are given a triangle and we want to figure out the value of x. So we know that a triangle's formula is 1/2 the base times the height. So the area of a triangle equals half the base times the height. Well, the base is the bottom, right? X plus 1. So, and they give us the area of the triangle already. So the area is 21. We have half the base, which is x plus 1. And then we have the height, which is x. Well, a convenient way of writing that is 21 equals 1/2 x times x plus 1. And the reason we're writing it that way is if we were to use distributive property, then it would definitely clean up or make this easier to multiply by. So let's use distributive property. And for those of us who don't know what distributive property is, we're taking the number up front and multiplying it by each piece in the parentheses. So 1/2 x times x, and then 1/2 x times 1. So 1/2 x times x, well, we're going to add the exponents, right? They're assumed to be 1 since they're not there. So 1 plus 1 is 2. And then we want to add 1/2 x times 1, which is just 1/2 x. All of that is still equal to 21. Now, what I recommend, because multiplying and working with fractions can be difficult for some, is that you multiply this whole thing to get rid of the 2. Since these are divided by 2, so another way of saying 1/2 as a fraction is 1 divided by 2. So to get rid of that division, we want to multiply it by 2. So let's multiply every piece in this expression by 2. What that means is 2 times 21 is 42. 1/2 x squared times 2 is just x squared. And then 1/2 x times 2 is just x. When you're solving for x in this format, we want to do something called factoring. So factoring is where you set this expression equal to 0, and it's equal to some set of groups. And so you'll have x plus some number, x plus or minus some number, and you want to set both sides equal to 0. So 0 is going to equal this, and then 0 is going to equal that. And by factoring, we can solve for x pretty easily. So let's start over here. We want to set this whole thing equal to 0 so that we can get this format. We want to subtract 42 from both sides. And so 0 equals x squared plus x minus 42. And we want to factor this, right? So we want to pick two numbers to put here and here that when multiplied give us negative 42, and when added give us positive 1. And so if we look at all the possibilities of 42, so like the different combinations that give us negative 42, 6 and 7 look like good candidates. And so I know that because I've gone through the calculator and I've looked at all the combinations, and then I've combined them until I have positive 1 as my sum. So we have x right here, x plus some number, and we said 6 and 7, so I'm going to set this as 7, and then I said 6. The reason that I have this one negative is I need some number that's going to give me negative 42 when multiplied. So 7 times negative 6 equals negative 42. 7 minus 6 equals positive 1. And so we would factor and reduce that further. So the next step is we want to set each piece equal to 0. So 0 is going to equal x plus 7. And then for this other part right here, 0 equals x minus 6. To get x by itself, we want to undo the addition here. So let's subtract 7 from both sides. So 0 minus 7 is negative 7. And then subtracting 7 here just gives us x. Let's work on this one down here. I want to add 6 to both sides. So 0 plus 6 is just 6. And then adding 6 gets rid of that negative 6. And we get x equals 6. So it's asking what the value of x is. There's no such thing as a negative measurement. And so we can't have negative 7 here. So the only answer choice would then be 6. And so that would be B.